up on here. But by the time you get on, you're just going to end up having to get off. And I hate to tell you, but it's true. Time goes by fast. Can you hear me? Darren.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay? Because it is already 6:22. If you kept on waiting, you're going to have to get off anyway. What's the whole point of getting on the stream? How about you just get on it? Look up all that kind of stuff. I don't care. The stream don't care. That's what the stream's made for. It's intended for you to do all the kinds of stuff that you can do on a recording video deal type thing. That's what a stream's there for. That's why it's made, to do all that kind of deal stuff. All that looking around and doing all that. You don't have to make me wait. I'm sorry if I pressure you sometimes, but you have to have it done because you just wait and wait and wait. It's like if he stayed up all night, I won't even care. But you have to go to bed like at 8 something.
Megamorphs 1, The Andalite Skit by K.A. Applegate. Copyright K.A. Applegate, 1990.
What's this?
Produced by the Richard Animorphs Forum audiobook project under the leader.
The audiobook for the book.
Why?
Try to find this. Try to find the series. If you want to watch the series, it's on Netflix.
Why does he have to be a girl?
I don't know. I can't find. It's not a girl. Okay, just.
It is a
listen to
girl.
it.
Her voice is a girl, Darren.
Nikki,
What?
it's not a girl.
Okay. But why would you sound like a girl when it's a boy?
People, more fun than Jess. Special thanks to our actors, Mr.
Darren,
Guy 36
That's a girl.
as Rachel,
I'm not dumb. I know what a
Yes, Kat.
guy's voice is, dude. That's a girl.
Our director for this
What?
chapter was Sarah 105. Special effects by Mr.
What?
Guy 36. Editing and producing by Boom and Jess.
What, Darren?
Just listen.
My name is Jake. Just Jake. No one else. Or at least.
Just
no one
listen
else.
to it, okay? Jeez.
I am an animorph. I guess that makes
We don't
me
have
one
to
of the
take
most.
forever to get on the street when we don't have a lot of time to be playing around.
I want my friends dead. So if they knew who I was and how to find me, I wouldn't have a chance. That's why I won't tell you my last name. And I won't tell you what city or state I live in. Because I want to go on living. I want to go on living so I can go on fighting them. Are you one of those people who looks up at the night sky and wonders whether there is life out there among the stars? Do you wonder about UFOs? Do you wonder whether aliens will ever come to Earth? Well, stop wondering. The Yerks are here. They're a species of parasites. Just little slugs, really. Little slugs that crawl inside your head and wrap themselves around your brain and make you do whatever they want you to do. When that happens, you stop becoming a true human being. You become a controller. That's what we call a human who is under control of you.
Pause there for a
You
minute.
talk to control, you may be looking at you in the face. You may hear a human voice, but what you're really talking to is a Yerk.
What?
And they're
Can
everywhere.
you pause it for a minute?
Yes.
Listen to me. And listen what I'm going to say. I'm 22 years old. I'm going to be 23 next year. When Christmas comes. This year, I should say not next year. This year. Okay?
Okay.
We need to grow up. Darren, you are almost 22. You're going to have to change those childish shoes, and I'm not going to have to deal with it anymore. It's me, or do you really love me enough to do it? I need you to show me that you really love me. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen into what I'm saying. I love you, Darren, but the childish attitudes have to change. If you love me enough, you will show me for the rest of the time that you really love me. And if you get mad, then you need to show me. Don't say it. If you want to be a man and you want someone, Darren, you need to show me that love, or it's not going to work out.
I love you.
I love you too, but are you gonna show me?
Yes, I'm
You're
gonna
gonna be
show you.
showing me for a couple days, I mean, a couple weeks, and after those couple weeks, if you can't show me, it's gonna have to end. I am getting tired of these childish little waiting, mean little strikes that you do with me. I'm not 5. I understand that you are tired some days. But Darren, I've been going to the gym. Been doing 30 miles on the elliptical, or whatever you call this stupid thing. Exercising machine. I'm tired too. I haven't really gotten sleep either. I can't hardly sleep, especially when it gets really hot at night. And it gets really hot in my bedroom. I can't sleep. So I'm very tired. And I'm going to have to start getting used to getting up at 5 o'clock because I have school Monday. Oh, not Monday, Tuesday. Wait.
Tuesday. Yeah, right.
Yeah, Tuesday. On Monday, I might be home. If I'm not home by then, do something, call me, and I'll tell you what's up. If not, I'm probably going early, but I gotta go school shopping.
Okay.
And every year you really are supposed to change your clothes because
Why? What happened?
your clothes get worn out and they get holes in it. I can't wear that to school. And especially the professional way I need to dress, I can't wear that.
Sorry.
So I gotta change that. My
Hello.
clothes got holes in it. I have to change that to
I
get
love
new
you.
clothes to. I love you too, but you understand, we both need to grow up. We're not
Okay.
children anymore, Darren. We're 22, 23. You're going to be 30 one day. You're going to have to start getting a little bit mature than you are.
Okay, I love you.
I love you too. Now kiss me. Mm.
Megamorphs 1, The Andalite Skiff by K.A. Applegate. Copyright K.A. Applegate, 1997. Produced by the Richard
Start it
Animorphs
over.
Because I wanted to start it over. I love you.
For what reason?
Because I thought you wanted to hear it all.
Mr. Guy 36.
I love you
I
too.
love you too.
People, Mark Buck, and Jess. Special thanks to our actors, Mr. Guy 36 as Jake, Tarinia as Rachel, Tookie as Cassie, Jeff as Margot, and Slushy Man as Tobias. Our director for this chapter was Sarah 105, special effects by Mr. Guy 36, and timing and producing by Boone and Jess.
My name is Jake. Just Jake. No last name. Or at least no last name. Tubby. I am an animorph. I guess that makes me one of the most hunted, endangered species on Earth. The year 12 is dead. And all my friends dead. So if they knew who I was and how to find me, I wouldn't have a chance. That's why I won't tell you my last name. And I won't tell you what city or state I live in. Because I want to go on living. I want to go on living so I can go on fighting them. Are you one of those people who looks up at the night sky and wonders whether there is life out there among the stars? Do you wonder about UFOs? Do you wonder whether aliens will ever come to Earth? Well, stop wondering. The Yeerks are here. They're a species of parasites. Just little slugs, really. Little slugs that crawl inside your head and wrap themselves around your brain and make you do whatever they want you to do. When that happens, you stop becoming a true human being. You become a controller. That's what we call a human who is under the control of the Yeerk. When you talk to a controller, you may be looking at a human face, you may hear a human voice, but what you're really talking to is a Yeerk. And they're everywhere. If you think you haven't seen one, you're wrong. The policeman in his patrol car, the grocery store, your teacher, your pastor, your doctor, any of them might be a controller. Your mother, father, sister, or best friend, they could all be controllers. I know. My brother Tom is one of them. They have taken my brother from me and made him an enemy. I sit at the breakfast table every morning and make small talk, knowing all the while that Tom is not Tom anymore. And they have taken my best friend's mother. Everyone thinks Margot's mother is dead. Only he and I know the truth. She, too, is one of them. They are everywhere. They can be anyone. They tear lives apart. They do unspeakable things. And we stand against them alone. Only we know the threat. We 6. 5 animorphs and 1 andalite. 5 human kids with the power to become any animal we can touch. and a kid from another planet who looks like some weird mix of deer, human, and scorpion. But 6 of us against all the might of the Earths, and all the evil genius of their leader, this was 3. Which is why Rachel was worried about leaving, even for a weekend. We were all together that Friday evening. Marco, Cassie, Tobias, Rachel, and me. Max wasn't there because he would have had to change into his human morph. He doesn't like to become human. I think he feels naked without his deadly tail. So it was just the 5 of us in Cassie's barn, surrounded by all the chattering, snuffling, chirping, preening, smelly animals in their cages. The barn is also a wildlife rehabilitation center. Cassie's parents are veterinarians. They use the barn to take in sick or injured wild animals.
It's just this stupid 2-day gymnastics camp I signed up for a long time ago.
Rachel was saying,
It's no big deal. It's something I was going to do back, before. Rachel, you should go.
Cassie said.
Our entire lives cannot be about fighting the Yerks. We have to try to be semi-normal. I mean, it can't be all danger and battle and fear, right? So go.
Let me just check this, because they should have book 1.
How did you
Yeah.
even get into this book?
I watched the television series.
Oh.
I watched the television series on Netflix.
Today?
Yeah, today. And I wanted to see what it was, and I wanted to see if it was a book series.
BMW Financial Services. Go ahead.
Let's see something real quick. Really?
What?
Yes, found it.
What is it? Is it the book or is it the show?
It's the show. I found the show. Just want to see if it'll work. Let me go ahead and share. Let me go. Go to my. Perfect. I can't believe I found it. Close. Alright. Seriously? Next. Alright. No, I didn't find it. Damn it. Thought they would have that, but no. Okay. Maybe they would have it on.
What's this about? Turn.
Watch. Thank you very much.
What's this show about, Darren?
I'm on HTV. Hopefully it's not those stupid. Hi, my name's Jake. I wanted to tell you, make this message, because if anything happens to me or any of my friends, somebody needs to know what's going on. I can't tell you where I live or my last name. You just have to trust me that what I'm talking about is real. This is a real place, a real town. It may even be your town. Okay. Here it is. A few days ago, an alien, an Andalite, landed here, on our planet. They landed here to tell us about another alien race called the Yerks. I know this sounds crazy, okay? I know that. And that's what I thought when it was happening. And I was losing. I was a young one. 5 of us saw it. And together we watched an alien spacecraft land, and it was incredible. I mean, I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. I felt weird. I felt excited and afraid. But when I saw Fango, that's the end of it. I felt like I knew him forever. It's really weird. He spoke to us in thoughts. You know, I knew he was there to help us. I wasn't afraid. He told us about these aliens, the Yerks. Slug-like creatures. Take over your mind and your body. They control you and use human bodies as hosts. And if you've never been afraid, let me tell you, it does weird things. It takes over your mind and your body. Makes you want to scream. But I couldn't then, and I still can't. My friends are counting on me. I can't tell them I'm afraid or not. Because they trust me. They look up to me. I think they trust me more than I trust myself right now.
Okay.
Let me see what the show's about.
Yes. Um, I'm already. Tell you until I get fun. I don't know. Font. Let me see if this will work. Alien. Want to watch? Not. Dang it. You know, I'm trying to find something and it doesn't want to work.
Yeah, because you're not supposed to find enough stuff. You can only probably watch it off YouTube or Netflix.
I'm trying to
Not
find who. I'm trying to find it on something.
But for now, help me lift up this crow's cage. He's going up on that shelf.
Yeah, what's the show about, dude?
It's about this. It's about these aliens want to take over Earth. One alien gives them the power to morph into animals.
Of course, because Darren wants to take over the world, he has to watch it.
No, I want to watch it because I got interested in it, and I want you to watch it too.
You want to be taking over the world.
No, I don't want to be taking over the world.
Just joking. Oh gosh.
The thing that works is the Hulu thing. I don't want to have to pay for anything. I don't want to bid out shit.
Yep.
Give me a second. All I want to do is watch this. See if it'll work. Yeah. Okay. You want to watch the series? Watch it on Netflix, okay?
Okay. Are we gonna read that book though?
Well, I'll find the book somewhere else because it's not the first book. It's not the first book.
Oh.
Because I can never find
Trust me, Darren. I've
the
learned that
one.
all the way.
The one I actually want to use. Quit. Films, no. Not gonna do him because Grandma would freak out. Trying to get a book. Open, will you please? Thank you. Goodness gracious. Come on. Not what I want to watch.
My appearance disturbs you. Alright, this is a landmark moment for this series. We finally get to see Physics 3's human morph. An inferior form of this Victor.
Down.
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
My name is Jake. Well, that's just great. Our science fiction series just started off like an AA meeting. That's a really good sign.
Doesn't help when these things keep freezing.
Yeah, why does it freeze? Huh?
I have no idea.
Like
I have no idea why it just froze like that.
I don't know. It's driving me crazy.
my name is Jake. Well, that's just great. Our science fiction series just started off like an AA meeting. That's a really good sign. When I opened the book, you know, I didn't know what I was going to find. My name is Jake. Well, that's just great. Our science fiction series just started off like an AA meeting.
What's on, or is it off your iPod?
What?
Is it working or is that off your iPod?
It's working. It just freezes the freaking out.
When I opened the book, you know, I didn't know what I was going to find. I saw the flashing light just below.
Oh, what a beautiful sight. Then I was flying. I was flying. Oh, super. Life's afraid to go. Super good. Oh, super good.
This is the same people who did Goosebumps.
Really?
The Scholastic series.
You know, you should do that. Goosebumps.
What?
You know, like the book or something. Goosebumps.
So the series begins with its infamous "My name is" line that would open most of the books. It's actually the
Yeah,
series'
you
main
like
irony
Goosebumps?
that story that it goes so deep into the psyches of these characters who go to such lengths to hide their identities.
I love you so much.
I love you so much too. Do you like Goosebumps?
Yes, I do. I watched the series as a kid.
So have I. So.
Not that the enemy would have that hard of a time finding the information available, but I'll get back to that. We open in a mall of an unnamed city where the five main characters bump into each other and decide to walk home together. At this point in the game, all of them are pretty much vain and stupid with bad priorities and a faulty sense of entitlement towards the world. You know, like every single 13-year-old that ever lived. We have Jake, a middle-class white guy whose biggest concern is how to tell his brother that he failed to make the basketball team. Marco, the court jester, and what turns out to be a retrospectively nice touch, video game player extraordinaire. Tobias, a blonde wimp with a bad case of man crush on Jake after Jake saved him from some bullies. Rachel, Jake's fashion-centric cousin, who Jake mentions is very pretty, but immediately backpedals with a "not that I'm attracted to her" or anything. Come on, Jake, be like the French. And finally we have Cassie, the tree-hugging sweetheart. We are one Katie Holmes away from Dawson's Creek here, people. Sometimes I think about that one last moment when we were still just normal kids. It's like it was a million years ago. Like it was some totally different group of kids. You know what I was afraid of right then? I was afraid of admitting to Tom that I hadn't made the team. That was as scary as life got back then. 5 minutes later, life got a lot scarier. By the way, this is my reading voice. Not that I'm reading now, it's not like the book says. By the way, this is my reading voice. Anyway. Our five unlucky heroes decide to take a shortcut through an abandoned construction site near the mall. And to make a short story shorter, an alien spaceship lands right in front of them. They contemplate what to do, like run home and grab a video camera. Remember, cell phones were the size of Chipotle burritos back then and didn't have a camera. And before they can run, out pops Alfangor Cyril Shamto, an andalite. For those who don't know, andalites are basically minotaurs, spray-painted blue with a big-ass, badass scorpion tail, 2 more eyes popping out of their heads like Twizzlers, and a smile wiped off their face. It's like K.A. Applegate made them specifically to be cosplay-proof. So Fangor Sura Snail Shamwow gives the lowdown to the kids. He's one of the good aliens, trying to protect Earth from the bad aliens. Yerks, outer space slugs that slide into your head and control your brain. They are capable of imitating their host behavior perfectly, making them damn near undetectable. The Fangor Senile Sham Turtle was a fighter pilot who was critically injured in battle just miles over Earth's atmosphere. The Andalites were beaten back, their lead ship called the Dome Ship burned up into the atmosphere. The alien tells the kids that he hasn't time to warn anyone with a bit more authority, so he gives the kids all the information that he can, and then decides to give them a power to help them evade the Yerks. Jake enters the ship and finds both a holographic picture of the Andalite's family, which is a typical thing to find in a fighter pilot's cockpit, and a dangerous alien device that alters the genetic code of anyone who touches it. Decidedly less typical. Jake takes the blue box, and after some protest and panic, the kids are given the power to morph, to be able to turn into any animal they touch. Now Fangor Senile Shamalama Ding Dong gives them a warning. Never remain in morph for over 2 hours, or they will be permanently stuck. Just then, the Yerks finally catch up with the Andalite and land, while the kids hide. And so we meet our villains and cannon fodder. We have the main shock troops, Thor Beshear, 7-foot lizard men covered in so many blades they'd make Freddy Krueger blush. Now Finger tells the kids that they were originally peaceful people, but are now completely controlled by the Yerks. Oh, I forgot, Andalites speak through telepathy. Silence, the Andalite warned us. Look, Beshear cannot see well in the dark, but their hearing is very good. Then there are the taxons, giant alien centipedes that gave themselves willingly to the Yeerks. Elfangor calls them 100% evil. And then finally the big baddie, Visitor 3, the only Yeerk to gain control of an Andalite body. The Yeerks surround Elfangor, and one Hork-Bajir gets within spitting distance of the kids. They're all standing at attention, I whispered. How can you tell? Marco whispered back. Who knows when a jelly-eyed centipede or a walking salad shooter from hell is standing at attention? Guys, Hork-Bajir, they hear well. Shut up. So Visitor 3 takes some time to gloat over having captured a famous Andalite war hero. Yeah, get used to that. Visitor 3 does a lot of gloating. The conversation seems rather impersonal. The kids start worrying if, in addition to being able to send thoughts, the Andalites are able to read them. Can he read our thoughts? QC whispered. If he can, we're so dead I don't even want to think about it, Rachel told her. Yeah, personally, I'd be a little more concerned about the heart measure with really good hearing that's maybe 2 feet away from you. So we get some rather typical fallen angelic hero versus diabolical villain dialogue. Elfangor sit and spin, shake and bake, asks Visitor 3 why the Yeerks are for humans. Visitor 3 replies that's because they're so weak, blah, blah, blah. Elfangor gets one last shot at stabbing Visitor 3 in the shoulder with his tailblade, and Elfangor's ship gets destroyed. Jake then notices some humans in the crowd with the Hork-Bajir and Taxon. There are people over there, I told Marco. What? Are they prisoners? There's a Hork! Oh, forget it. And in what will be his usual hands-on style, Visitor 3 morphs into a giant tentacled alien, picks up Elfangor, and eats him. This causes Marco to puke, and that manages to get the Hork-Bajir's attention. The kids book it, while a mysterious human voice calls for their heads. The kids manage to escape, but not before a poor bum gets shish kebabbed. Jake wakes up the next morning, thinking that maybe it had all been a dream, but Tobias immediately shows up and confirms that it wasn't. Tobias has already morphed his cat, Duke, a process that includes touching the animal, concentrating while the animal goes into a trance, and then concentrating some more until you just kind of start changing. Tobias demonstrates this, and we learn that, 1, you have to fight against the animal's natural instincts while you morph, and 2, you can't morph clothes, which leads to a lot of awkward scenes of naked 13-year-old boys. Jake morphs Homer, his golden retriever, and smells things for LOLs. With his emotions rattled from the threat of an alien invasion and the fact that he was just a friggin' dog, Jake does the sensible thing and tells the one person he can trust, his older brother Tom, that he failed to make the basketball team. Tom brushes it off and tells Jake that sports aren't that important, which is very un-Tom-like behavior. Tom then tries to get Jake interested in the Sharing, a local community group that holds meetings down by the beach. Jake says he'll think about it, and then goes to mow the lawn. Animorphs, the great sci-fi epic! The kids meet at Cassie's barn, where her dad runs a wild animal veterinary service, which is a great way to fuck up natural selection. Cassie's been playing around with morph cream all morning, and figured out that it's possible to morph skin-tight clothing. Rachel brings the morning newspaper with a story about kids setting off fireworks at the construction site, an obvious cover story, and the kids finally realize the gravity of their situation. The Yeerks have control of the police and the media. They could have control of anything. We are royally screwed. To punctuate the point, a policeman arrives at the barn and asks some questions about the construction site incident. The cops really want these kids, which raises the question, why did the Yeerks think they were kids? It was established that there was a healthy homeless population on the site. Couldn't it have been a bunch of bums? Hell, it could have been anybody. Anyway, the kids deny being there, and the cop name drops the Sharing.
I love you.
Love you too.
So the cop leaves, and the kids fester over things for a while, eventually deciding to wait and see what happens. Marco and Jake returns to Jake's house to blow off some steam via video games, but Marco notices the change. This is Tom's behavior. When Tom asks him about the construction site incident, Marco realizes that Tom must be a controller. Mentioning this causes Jake to break out into a fist fight. The conflict is broken up by Tobias, who flies to Jake's house in the form of a red-tailed hawk. Jake asks Tobias to work it out, but Tobias is curiously hesitant. Tobias. And you're in your bed. That's always when your mother walks in, and you have to spend the rest of the day trying to explain that this was all part of a science experiment for school. And your mom will go, "You expect me to believe that? This is the 8th time." Yeah, that's always how it goes. Anyway, the reason Tobias was flying around was because he was looking for signs of something called the Yeerk pool. The Yeerk's secret hideout where they feed on alien nutrients called cadrona rays every 3 days. How does Tobias know about this? Well, apparently right before they ran off, Elfangor, words with S's in them, gave him a super dose of information straight to the brain that Tobias has been trying to sort through. I guess he eventually quits because this information will never be mentioned again. More on that later. The kids decide they need to get more information in order to dodge the Yeerks, and so far their only lead are the repeated mentionings of The Shining. So they sign up for a meeting and all go out to the beach. Seems like a really fun place with volleyball and BBQ ribs, and it's so great and inviting that even Marco changes his mind concerning Tom. Tom mentions that the sharing has an inner circle for more dedicated members and goes off to have a meeting with them. Jake's still suspicious, morphs into Homer, and does not fine. Doesn't take long for the sharing to show its true colors. It's a Yeerk-run organization that specializes in keeping tabs on local kids and making people volunteer to become controllers. The head of the group are the kids' vice principal, Chapman. Jake recognizes him from the construction site. The Yeerk pool is mentioned, and Tom says he'll have to head there soon for a recharge. Jake's spying then gets interrupted when the cop from earlier catches Cassie spying, but Cassie says she's just shell hunting and gets away. The next day, Jake plays hooky by ducking into his locker and morphing into a lizard he acquired the night before. After some hijinks involving losing his tail and giving in to the animal's instincts and eating a spider, Jake manages to follow Chapman into a utility closet, where he opens a... Jake returns with his discovery, and the kids...
Episode 3.
Free to sneak in that night to try and save Tom. Marco then comes up with the name animorff, the Death Wish. So they head to the Gardens, a theme park / zoo that Cassie's mom works at. Between this place and the bar, the animorphs have pretty much any animal at their disposal. Because who needs challenges in this morphing business, am I right? If you live in the Bay Area, by chance, the Gardens is pretty much Marine World. Or at least until Six Flags bought it and phased out the zoo portion. Not sure what they did with the animals, but I like to imagine that that old dancing fogey had them all ground down and served. Oh my god, my elephant ears are made of real elephants! The animorphs slip into the back hallways behind the zoo portion to acquire some heavy artillery. Marco manages to acquire a gorilla before they're spotted by a military security guard. This leads into the animorphs getting separated and having go-kart chases while Yakety Sax somehow plays, even though this is a textual medium. Jake and Marco duck into a cage without checking what's in it and find themselves face-to-face with a Siberian tiger. Jake acquires it to put it into a trance, giving them enough time to escape. They catch up with the others, but none of them believe them about the tiger story. Because, you know, compared to an infestation of mind-troubling alien slugs, finding a tiger in a zoo is just ridiculous. The animorphs go home to recollect themselves and then head to the school to try and get into the Yeerk pool. However, Cassie has mysteriously disappeared. They finally find her in the hands of the cop earlier, who escorts her into the Yeerk pool, and the kids pursue. And finally, we get a look at the Yeerk pool. And it's huge. Really, really huge. And when I say huge, I mean huge. They could have played the Super Bowl in there and had room left over for a couple of malls. It was like a giant bowl turned upside down, all carved out of solid rock. At the very top of the bowl was a faint outline of a hole. I thought I could see stars through it. Which would be impossible unless the Yeerks had all their lights turned off. Who knows, maybe the Yeerks have gone green. Yes, the Yeerk pool is huge. It's under half the city, it's got a spaceship port, and there's always someone giving a blood-curdling scream. And now the animorphs realize just how royally screwed they are. These barely teenage kids could morph any animal they wanted. They'd still be vastly outnumbered, outsmarted, and outpowered. Fighting these things would be like trying to stop a nuclear bomb with pillows. Their chance of doing damage to these guys are nil. The only option now is to stay alive the best they can. Some controllers spot Jake and Marco acting non-Yeerk-like and confront them. Rachel takes this opportunity to morph into an elephant and charges through the controllers. Jake and Marco morph tiger and gorilla and use chaos to get to the central pool and save Cassie, Tom, and whoever else they can get. With a handful of freed prisoners, they make a dash for the exit, but are stopped by Visor 3. Unaware that they're human, Wizardry calls them Andalite bandits, and then morphs into a freaky space dragon with 8 legs, 8 claws, and 8 fire-spitting heads. Clearly, only one man could stop such a beast. It's at this point that Tom makes the rather stupid decision to start punching aliens in the face, and gets recaptured. The animorphs begin Plan B, run away! And just manage to get out of the Yerk pool with their lives and secret identities intact. However, they only manage to save Cassie and a random woman they don't know. And to make matters worse, Tobias is missing. The animorphs go home, and Tobias shows up at Jake's house. Unfortunately, Tobias has been in Hawkmoor for over 2 hours and is now stuck in it. Helpless and damaged, all the animorphs can hope to do now is to stay alive and wait for the Andalite forces to arrive and win this war for them. Post-book follow-up. We have an ancient animal spirits, or Cassie giving a speech about tribal people summoning the strengths of various animals, which is a bit off-topic, considering the animorphs were talking about how to sneak into the air pool. Marco rightfully blows her off and tells her to buy some Birkenstocks. When approaching the invasion for review, you have to decide whether to evaluate it on its own or within the context of the rest of the series. Actually, this is true for most of the books. It certainly fares better in the later than the former. On its own, the book gives us just enough to get the story rolling, but not much more. Reading it again after reading the rest of the series, one notices a lot of small details that would have been ignored in the first reading, but predict a lot of what's coming. For example, we get the first hints of Marco's ability and tactical analysis to the way he plays video games. As is the case for the rest of the series, the best part of this book is the character development. Interestingly, the least developed at this point is Jake, despite the fact that the book is narrated by him. He really is Joe average in most ways. We get early hints of Rachel's aggressive streak, but at this point, we can write it off as typical 13-year-old Valley Girl bitchiness combined with a strong.
Hold on, let me see if I can get the all the episodes in these. That way I can. Okay. This is really good. just have to watch this another day.
Strong sense of woman on top uber feminism, probably handed down from her mother. Marco and Tobias are the only two animorphs whose family life we get a decent look at, and it puts them in an interesting parallel. Marco's mother was killed 2 years before this book, and this gives Marco a world wariness that he shouldn't have at this age. His trademark humor is most likely a coping mechanism to deal with these serious issues in his life, and he'll continue to try and act the clown as the Yerk invasion gets more serious. Tobias, on the other hand, was abandoned by his parents and ended up being the ball in a ping-pong game between his aunt and his uncle. Tobias doesn't seem to be able to create the same kind of coping mechanism that Marco could, and ended up becoming a social misfit. When Tobias gets his morphing ability, he treats it like a toy. Despite being the most gung-ho about stopping the Yerks, he's also the most unrealistic and immature about it, wanting to blow up the Yerk pool that he doesn't even know what it really is. There's also some hints that Tobias wanted to be trapped in a hot morph as a means to escape from the pains of the human world.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to do something. Okay. Come on, where is it? Where is it? Come on, where is it? Come on. There you go. Alright. Put that to yourself. But I may try.
Brought by bullies and a dysfunctional family life. All in all, it paints Tobias as an unbalanced and troubled kid. I know Tobias fans are going to get mad at me for saying this, but if the whole Yerk thing hadn't happened, I feel as though Tobias had a Columbine in him. Cassie didn't get much to do in this book besides offer some animals and act as the damsel in distress. However, the moment I mentioned earlier about her animal spirit speech gives an early hint to her unusual mindset. While the rest of the animorphs are discussing tactics, Cassie goes off on a poetic but unrelated tangent. She sees things on a very different level than everyone else. When you really look at these guys, it's pretty clear to see why Jake was positioned as the team leader. He may have been Joe Average, but he was the only one of them that didn't have these huge emotional hang-ups, at least at first. So while the five main characters have a great start, the plotting doesn't fare quite as good this early in the game. The whole thing comes off as a stock comic book story. The Yerks are portrayed as the ultimate in evil, and the Andalites the ultimate in good. The Fangor is seen as a being good president.
Yes?
What time are you going to bed?
8 o'clock, boy.
It's 12 is 3
8 o'clock?
8:30, why?
Because at 8, around... Will you let me talk?
Yes?
Around 8:30, me and my sister's gonna go to the gym.
Okay.
Good kind of character.
Okay.
I just wanted to, just tell you so you can know when to see them.
And whatever. Again, this stuff bears better in retrospect when we learn more about these characters and the conflict they're in. The writing itself is a bit condensed and rushed. Kay Applegate had to explain as much of the crucial details as she could in a limited amount of space. So many details got streamlined and the whole thing moves at a quickened pace. It's also clear that Kay hasn't gotten all the details figured out yet, and this book has the most of what the Animorphs fan community called Cassus, or Catherine Applegate screwed up. I already explained one with Tobias getting all that information in his head that it never comes up again. I've left most of the other ones out because they're not important. Between the atypical good versus evil plotting, a rushed pace, and a general disorder over the details, reading this book again was a bit of a disappointment, and it doesn't really hint at the dramatic directions the series would eventually take. I give Animorphs #1 The Invasion a 6 out of 10. Suddenly, there they were, just ahead and clearing. Two teenage creeps sitting in the back of a pickup truck. One guy had a blonde ponytail. The other one wore a baseball cap. They were 100 yards away, like being all the way down the football field. But my eagle eyes were so good, I could count their eyelashes. Wait a minute. Blonde ponytail? Baseball cap? Oh dear God. Forget the Yerks! We have seen the face of the true enemy! Run while you still can!
When I opened the book, I didn't know what I was going to find. I saw the flash of light just before. Oh, what a beautiful sight. That I was super. I was afraid to go super.
So the book opens with the 5 Animorphs taking the place of Tobias. Jake's a falcon, Rachel's an eagle, and Kathy, both the same osprey, just because. They enjoy themselves for a while until their fun is interrupted by 2 drunk teens taking potshots at the wildlife. Instead of flying out of range, the Animorphs risk their lives, charge, and fly off with their gun. So they hide out in a church and demorph. All except Tobias, of course. This book takes place roughly a week after the first one. And you'd think that Tobias would be feeling a bit wacko for spending an entire week as a hawk, but this isn't Tobias' story, because it's good PR to follow up a boy-narrated book with a girl-narrated book. Sorry, Tobias, but you're playing background character to Rachel's story. Screw your men, we have a gymnastics class to get to. The entrance to the Yerk pool in the school has been sealed off. And if the Animorphs keep focusing on saving Tom, it'd make the Yerk suspicious. That leaves Assistant Principal Chapman as their only lead, and their only connection to Chapman is his daughter Melissa, whom Rachel used to be friends with until Melissa started acting introverted and distant. Rachel approaches Melissa at gymnastics class, but can't connect with her. Rachel walks home from class, but a punk stops her on the street, clearly looking for trouble. Rachel makes a dash for her, but the assailant makes chase, and Rachel is forced to morph halfway into an elephant to scare him off. She just manages to demorph before Chapman pulls up and offers her a lift. Gotta tell ya, sharing a car with your blood enemy isn't nearly as bad as sharing a car with Monty Cash off key the entire time. Rachel recounts this encounter to the rest of the Animorphs, and Jake and Mark were true out for risking revealing her identity. I mean, after all, what if the punk told someone about the amazing elephant girl? Which makes Jake and Marco hypocrites. I'm sorry, but who's more likely to go around telling people their story? A potential rapist who saw something impossible, or 2 drunk kids who saw something improbable? Yeah, Rachel could have handled the situation better. She admits as much. But she was cornered and scared, and she's a 13-year-old girl. All the Animorphs had to do when dealing with the kid with the gun was fly away. But instead they decided to make a show of it that the kids probably recounted to all their friends without hesitation. If
Do you want to just jam? Did I have enough time to watch Naruto?
Why?
So that I have enough time to watch
I'm
Naruto.
getting off at 8:30. Is that why you're getting off at 8 o'clock?
Is this book seriously saying that doing stupid animal tricks for no good reason is better than trying to prevent rape? Anyway, the animorphs decide that they need to do some spy work on Chapman. And the best way to do that is more
There's
cat. Fluffermicky. This proves to be a much tougher task than it sounds, because when they try to corner the cat,
I love you so
Yeah.
much.
it attacks them and makes a dash of
You
it.
ever get off?
No, I'm just saying, will I have enough time to watch Naruto? You know.
Yes, a technically related alien army has just been postponed because a cat is stuck on. Oh Lord, we're screwed. Imagine if the Andalites had won the war because Visitor 3 suddenly remembered that he left the water running.
Did you send that to yourself, like I wanted you to?
The episode?
Yeah, the episode. Because there's no way I can get on. There's no way I can get on Netflix. You know,
Mm.
right now. I mean, come on. You know, without using your password, and I'm not gonna use that because
Alright,
your mom and dad.
how are you gonna do this? I'm going to the gym at 8:30.
Came back home and turned
Your mom and dad. Did you talk to them about giving me the thing? I mean,
But they haven't told me if it was okay or not. I'm going to the gym at 8:30. What are you gonna do?
probably watch Naruto or something, or I might.
Are you gonna be able to say goodnight to me?
I might just, or it might be time for me to go to bed. I don't know.
blade ship around.
Oh,
Why is
Yeah.
submission
What? I love you.
say goodnight to me. I love you too.
through Rachel and where Fluffy out? I guess morphing a piece of string was out of the question. The shrewd, skittish instincts freak Rachel out, but the bait works and Fluffy gets caught, but not without a fight. I just want to remind you all, so far the Animorph's main threats have come from elderly security guards, drunk teenagers, and cats in trees. So Rachel morphs Fluffy and slips into Chapman's house. Both Mr. and Mrs. Chapman act robotically while Melissa isn't around, like they're on autopilot. 3 minutes before 8, Chapman gets up and makes it to the bed.
What?
I thought you wanted to get off now.
Can't I?
If you want, I have to go to the gym at 8:30, Darren. I would like to say goodnight to you before I have to go.
First, he keeps a holographic communicator. Chapman contacts Vision 3
I'm
and
going to get off now.
And that-
I'm not sitting there listening to me.
you have to wonder what qualifies.
I love you.
Oh, let me too. Are you going to be able to say goodnight to me? Get off at 8:30.
Is he doing school stuff to keep up his cover? Vision 3 mentions that if the Council of 13 fear
Love you so much.
I love you so much too, but I would like to tell you if you're going to say goodnight to me before I go.
Yes.
about possible
no.
Andalites, after Visitor 3 reported that all the Andalites near Earth had been destroyed, there would be an inquiry. Instead, Visitor 3 spots Rachel as a cat and orders that it be destroyed. Chapman rightfully points out that this would raise suspicion in Melissa, who we learn is not a controller. And after Rachel switches to cat instincts and attacks the hologram, Visitor 3 agrees to let it live. Visitor 3 concludes their discussion by morphing a predator from the Yerk homeworld and threatens to suck the Yerk straight out of Chapman's head. He then shows Chapman video of Visitor 3 doing just that to some high-ranking Yerk who failed him. The conversation ends and Mr. Chapman returns to Mrs. Chapman. We get our first little glimpse that not all is right in the Yerk forces, as both Chapmans agree that while the high-ranking Yerk deserved to be punished for whatever off-screen thing it did, Visitor 3's method was way too harsh. Melissa comes down and asks for some help for her homework, but the controllers just brush her off. Rachel goes upstairs to comfort her, Kitty style. Rachel gets out and tells the Animorphs everything except the part about Visitor 3 wanting the cat destroyed. After some deliberation, they decide they need more information, specifically information on the machine that makes the drone arrays that the Yerks feast on. So a few days later, they get together outside Chapman's house, though Jake is mysteriously absent. Rachel morphs Fluffy and does the same routine again, but just before she makes it into the basement, Jake reveals that he's morphed a flea and is currently on Rachel's back. This startles Rachel, and she almost blows her cover, but manages to make it into the hologram. Fool! Figure 3's artificial voice was flat, but still carried a load of anger. Do I care about a handful of hosts? What have you learned about the Androlite bandits? Visitor, what can I do? Unless they show themselves. They used Earth animals in the attack on the pool, Visitor 3 said. They used powerful, dangerous Earth animals. Find out how they obtained such morphs. My experts here tell me that such animals are rare on this part of the planet. Yeah, it's not at all possible that humans gathered these animals together to be discussed. And if it was possible, there's clearly no such place nearby here, or I would have heard about it. Has Visitor 3 ever looked at a single map of the city he's personally invading? Anyway, Chapman accidentally kicks Rachel, and Visitor 3 puts 2 and 2 together, and realizes that it's an Androlite spy, and demands Chapman bring both the cat and Melissa to him. There's a bit of a tussle as Rachel claws the shit out of Chapman's arm, and then both Mr. and Mrs. Chapman's hosts start rebelling. Mr. Chapman starts acting like he's having a seizure, while one of Mrs. Chapman's hands start beating the shit out of her like Evil Dead 2 style. Eventually, Chapman gets everything under control, but doesn't take Melissa. Chapman, Kitty Rachel, and Flea Jake meet up with Visitor 3 at the construction site, which I guess is now an official ship landing zone. Visitor 3 demands Mr. Chapman tell him why he didn't bring Melissa, and Chapman, the real Chapman, takes control. It turns out that Mr. and Mrs. Chapman voluntarily became controllers on the grounds that Melissa be spared. Chapman reveals that he actually has some leverage. As Chapman is frequently at parent-teacher conferences, he could rebel against the Yeerk at any one of these and cause a great deal of fuss. If Visitor 3 really wants Melissa, he's either going to have to risk this or destroy Chapman, which would be too much of a pain for one unimportant 13-year-old. Chapman wins this round, and Visitor 3 upholds the deal. The Yeerk regains...
Your pizza will be ready in 5 minutes. Okay, thanks. Okay, I gotta eat 5 minutes.
Okay.
Visitor 3 then turns his attention to Rachel, but Cassie and Margot manage to get to the construction site and manage to start a bulldozer, which gives enough of a distraction for Jake to morph Tiger and for Rachel to escape. Then the animorphs start another bulldozer, which crashes into one of the Yeerk fighters, causing it to explode. Could we talk quickly with you there for a while? You were turning out to be a really decent book, and then you did this. Why on earth did you do this? Oh, what's wrong with this? Well, let's look at this, shall we? First off, exactly what threat do bulldozers have against these alien warships? I could have thought that the Yeerks might be unfamiliar with them. And they're
Okay. What?
Thought you wanted to get off.
We do. Dang it. That's all I want. That's all I want again.